I'm sorry. I know I'm awkward. Okay. All right, y'all, let's get back to this. Charlie will be in here in a second. So this is not a sheet y'all are going to do. Y'all are trying to finish up your worksheet from Friday. Again, because I sent that to Michaela. This is the sheet that y'all are going to do, 3 and 4.
Oh, we're not doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I'm about to teach how to do it. So you will need a calculator. First part is not too bad. Can you graph? On mine, I'm starting with an easy one. Y equals negative x. Okay? So what I would do, it says graph it. So I go to my calculator. And I go to y equals. And I type in negative x.
Isn't the inverse on that one?
So, well, we're going to wait and see. Okay? We'll wait and see. So is everybody okay with this is my first graph? So then I graph it. If you need points, you can press second graph or your table. And you would see it's like all these points right here. It's just the line that goes through like down one and over one. I kind of messed up a little bit. Okay, but that's the first part. You just graph what's given to you. Is everybody okay with that one? Y equals negative x. There it is. Oops, I just shifted that over. Okay, now if I was going to find the inverse, what do you do to find the inverse? You switch. Well, first you graph this. So I graphed it. That's what your paper is going to tell you to do. Graph exactly what's there. Then you're going to switch it around and find the new one. So I would say x equals negative y. So how do you solve for y?
Divide by negative.
Divide by that negative 1. So I get, what does y equal?
The same thing.
The same thing. So the inverse is actually the same. I would just draw. Sometimes that happens. Okay? Are we okay with that?
I don't know.
What part?
The negative 1.
So if I switched my x and y, because that's what the inverse does, right? Now, what's over here with the y? A negative sign. So if I change that, what do I have to do to this side? Change that. She just said, I think she was saying divide by negative 1. That's the same thing. Well, what do you notice about this, the inverse? It's the exact same equation, is it not? This says y equals negative x. What does this one say? Y equals negative x. So that's why I drew my black line the same. That's not going to happen very often. Okay? I'm about to do another one where they're not going to be the same.
I guess it's.
I guess if they're watching a movie. Okay, can I erase? Yes. What did you sign up for, Shirley?
Math?
What did you sign up for?
6:30.
On what day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, 6:30.
Well, yeah, I don't know for sure. Do you know, right? Yeah, you don't know them all.
Okay, number 6, 3x squared. This is a good one to do, okay? Again, this is not y'all's, all right? This is just mine. So the first thing I'm going to go and type in is 3x squared. What is 3x squared going to look like? It's going to look like a parabola, right? So look at you, you know your stuff. Now, here it is, okay? I'm going to press second table, and I'm going to try and find some numbers to graph. I'm going to do this one. I'll do this one in black. So I've got negative 1 up 3, 0, 0, 1, 3. It's kind of a skinny parabola, isn't it? Okay, is everybody okay with that one? So that's the first part. On your worksheet, you're going to graph exactly what they have. The hard part is finding the inverse and graphing the inverse. And this is where it changes for us just a little bit today. Okay? Everybody's good with part 1. We graphed. How do I find the inverse? I switch my x and y. So I would have x equals 3y squared. Does everybody understand that? Yeah, I just switched them. Now, solve for y. What number's over there with it?
3.
That times 3, so what do I need to do with that? Divide by 3. So I've got x over 3 equals y squared. I'm just going to leave it like that. Because when I put it in my calculator, it can handle this in just a second. Now, what's the last thing I have to do? Square root. Can I have y squared? No. You should have been able to tell. I need to move the 3 and the square. I moved the 3. Now I move the square. What happens when you square root that? When I square root, what do I have to put? Plus or a minus? I know, let me cover that up. Hold on. So y'all can see it better. There, that should be a little bit better. All right, any questions on why I did the plus or the minus? We learned that last week. I know it's been a few days. But when you take the square root, you have to put the plus sign and the minus sign because you're saying it could have been a positive or a negative that we squared. Okay? Everybody good with that? Now, the only new thing today is we have to graph it. All right? Notice there are 2 things that I have to graph. It's going to be the left side of the parabola and the right side of the parabola. It's going to be the positive square root and then the what? The negative. Is everybody okay with that? So you're going to have 3 graphs.
How do you get to show both?
Okay, so watch. I've got my first one. Do y'all want me to clear my first one out? Let me move that back. I keep shifting. Okay, I'll clear the first one out. Sorry, y'all. This is a mess. I've moved my paper. There. Okay, I will go to y equals, and I'm going to clear out my first one. I've already graphed that one, so I'm just going to take it off there, okay? So the first one I'm going to do is the positive. I press square root. Everybody good with the square root? And then what is it? X divided by 3. And all that should be in my square root. Okay, did everybody get something like that? What's the second part? I've got my positive. What else do I need?
Negative.
My negative. You have to graph both of them. You can't graph them at the same time. So this time I'm putting negative.
Graph them at the same time?
You're going to graph them. I mean, you can't type in positive and negative into one y equals. So now I put x over 3. Okay? And make sure that's all under the square root. Is everybody good with that? Can I press graph? Okay, so here it is. Notice it's a parabola. What has it done though? It's turned sideways. I took the inverse. Anytime you have a square root function, y'all, it's really weird. We'll learn this later. A square root function is going to look like that. That's like where the tip of the parabola and it goes that way. What happens if I have a negative square root function? What does that one look like? That. It's your parabola turned sideways. Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe?
Can we do another one with the inverse?
Yeah, let me go ahead. Let me finish graphing this one real quick, and then, yeah, we're going to do some more. So I have my first graph right there. So I'm going to press second table, and look at all these errors. I can't graph the errors. So the reason is, if you look at your graph real quick, are there any points over here? All those are errors. There are no numbers. There is no graph over here. That's why they have all those error words, okay? Are there points over here, though? There are. So see, look at my table. I'm just going to plot some of the points that I have. So for the top part, how about 3, 1, and 0, 0? Does that look good? Does everybody understand why I picked those 2 numbers? Yes, no? Look, I picked 0, 0. I did not want to pick 1.5774, okay? So I'm going to graph 0, 0. There it is. And what's the next one? Over 3 and up 1. 1, 2, 3, up 1. So that's that part of the parabola, okay? Now let me graph the bottom part. So 0, 0, that's a good one to pick, isn't it? Got that. And then what's the next one? 3, negative 1. So over 3 and down 1.
Don't you have to do like open circles?
No, because it's equal to those points. There's no open circles. It starts from there and it goes over. How is that? Kinda, sorta. It's just your parabola, and what has it done? It's just turned sideways. Your inverse, it's flipped like that. All your x, boy, look. If I have those ordered paired, they were 1, 3, and negative 1, 3. Notice what these ordered paired are. What did I do? I switched them. They're 3, 1, and 3, negative 1. Right? I switched my x and y's. That's all you do for the inverse. So you didn't even have to graph it on your calculator. Does that make sense? All you do is switch your x and y's. But you do have to know how to. No. I'm just showing you. See how I got points when you found the inverse? If you just switch them, that's your new graph. You just switch the x and y. But you do have to know how to find your equation. This is like ACT stuff, college algebra. Like you'll have to find your equation. But a good way to check yourself is just switch the ordered pairs. And you'll see your x and y's just switch. Okay? Y'all want one more of those before you try the 2 on your sheet? Yeah? I think I have one more. Oh, I was done writing. Anybody still writing on that? The graph part now? Okay. All right, let's do this one and then I'll let y'all try. Okay, this one is 2 minus x squared. So I'll go ahead and graph it just like they have it. 2 minus x squared. Is everybody good with that? I'm just typing in the calculator and then I press graph. All right. I have my parabola and it's shifted over. Oh, I meant to press second graph. And now I'm going to take some of my numbers. All right. I like to kind of pick where I see them repeat right here. 1, 0, 1. Okay, so I'm going to go with over 1, up 1. Over 2 and stay there. Over 3, up 1. And you can even pick, I'll do another one. Over 4 and up 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you can pick several. Okay, there's my graph. What's probably the easiest way to find the inverse, y'all? Switch your ordered pair and graph your inverse. That's going to be one way, all right? You could just do that. All right, I can just do 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 4.
So can you do that every time it work out for you?
Yeah, you can, but now there might be questions, though, that they're going to ask you, what's your new equation? But yeah, on this, if you just wanted to graph the inverse, then you can just say, let me switch. That's going to be 4, 0. That one's going to be 1, 1. What's this one going to be? 0, 2, 1, 3. Obviously, 4, 4, it's going to stay the same. But look, I'll graph them. Over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it stays there. Over 1, up 1. Over 0, up 2.
That's mine upside down.
Over 1, up 1, 2, 3.
Do you have to put it in parentheses?
Over 4, up 4. Yeah, like you're talking about there's my sideways parabola. The y equals, let me go to my y equals. I would do it just like they have it. See how mine is 2 minus x, all that squared. Okay? But anyway, do y'all see what I did? I just switched my x and y's. Now, I'm still going to go through and solve it like we've been. But my black one is my first graph. My blue one is just the inverse. I switched it. Okay? But let me solve the equation and we'll still see how that works. I'm going to move my calculator. Do y'all need a second? Anybody before I solve it? Okay.
Miss Amanda, do you have a calculator now?
You want to use mine for a second?
Yes.
So you can try. I'm just going to write down my problem. 2 minus x squared. And now I'm going to switch it for those. Hannah Catherine, tell me when you're ready.
Where did you get Yes, ma'am. Hold on, wait.
backwards on her too, but I didn't do them in math the same
Yeah,
size.
but this one, the second one's right.
I think hers is right, I don't know.
Yeah, you can even, I mean, you can just do that. But y'all do have to remember to find the inverse of the equation. So what would I do if I was doing the equation? Flip it. But if you just do, like, honestly, I'm done with that problem. Because did it say for me to find my new equation? It didn't. I could be done with that problem just how I did it. But we do need to know how to do this. Okay, Shirley, what's your question first?
We have a flash on paper.
On
Different answers. Number 3.
You'll have different answers? Hold on. And I'll look at it. Hancock, you have a question on this?
I do sideways mean.
What I did was I had all these ordered pairs. So they're ordered pairs in my table. Oh, she has it. Hold on, but they listed them as they were 0, 4. They had 1, 1. This is the black graph. I graphed that black graph, okay? And then they had over 2 and up 0 over, that's 3 and up 1, and then 4, 4. Okay? Do you see that that's my black graph? That's all my points. What do you do to find the inverse? You can just switch the x and y's. So I did that, and I got 4, 0. This is my inverse. 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 4, 4. And notice when I drew that parabola, it was a sideways parabola. That's what I expected, right?
So is it supposed to look like that?
It should be a,
Mine, when I graphed it, like,
I think it is gonna be
You're right, you see.
negative 3x plus 2. And you switch, so yeah, it can go that way. It can go,
and then do I need to switch the manual? So then I put the.
you don't have to do that part on those ends. But you will need to know how to do that. Okay. How do I solve for y on this one, y'all? How do I solve for y? How do you get rid of the square? Square root. So I have plus or minus the square root of x. Does everybody understand that? My square went away. Then what would I do to solve for y? Subtract 2. So I have a positive or a negative square root of x minus 2. What's wrong here?
The y is negative.
The y is negative. Does everybody see that? So I have to change everything, all of them. Well, that stays. I still have a plus or minus square root of x. What does the minus 2 go to? Plus 2. And what does the y change to? Positive. Okay, all I did was I changed all those to the opposite. Okay? Is everybody good with that? If it wanted the equation. Now if I went in and I graphed both of those, it would give me that right there. Look, and I'll try it.
So you subtract 2 and then you just do the opposite of everything?
Yeah, the reason right here, I had negative y. You see that? So I had to change it to a positive. I had to change that to a what? Positive. And I changed both of those signs. If I change them
Because the y was negative.
because the y was negative.
Okay, so if it was a positive y, then you
You
just
just,
left it.
yeah, I left it. And if I graphed both of these, if I graphed the square root of x plus 2 and negative square root of x plus 2, guess what graph it would have given me? That one right there. So lots of different ways you can do this. Oh, you done?
Does it look right?
Let me look and see. Yeah, it does supposed to be. It is turned that way. What did y'all get for number? What number were y'all asking about, Casey and Shirley? Y'all want to ask me though? What is it, number 5?
3.
Oh, 3. It.
Is that?
Here, you can come compare it. That's what it looks like. You got it? Okay. Yeah, it does look backwards. The answer to number 3, it does look backwards.
I don't even really know what I'm doing.
Does it point that's what
Yeah, the opposite way. It does. It points the opposite way. Okay. So y'all are working on 3 and 4 and 5. Hey, real quick though, y'all, because one of these questions asks about domain. Look at the blue graph. What is the domain? It can be all, looking at your x values, it's all numbers that are what? Can it be positive, greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0? Look, can we have any negative numbers back here for the blue graph? No. So all numbers greater than or equal to 0. X greater than or equal to 0. We kind of talked about that earlier in the chapter. But I'll give y'all a few minutes to do. Yes, it's right there. Wait, no, it's not. Now it is. Okay. Can I turn this in? Yeah, just set it on top right there. And then I'll see what else.
Plus or minus x minus
Yeah.
8 over 3.
Alright.
And then C, A,
What? That.
I was making that so much harder than it was supposed to
But this one right here is
be.
Okay, y'all, are y'all done? Question. Okay, this one.
So I know you flip it, but then, so like, what do you do first? Do you square it? Do you divide it, or do you subtract it?
So you would pretend that we had, I'm going to go back to, hold on, let me stop the video for a second. Pause.